So this is 4.3D as in dog and trigonometry with graphs of the other circular functions. We're in example 7. And I'm not going to actually do this whole problem because it's exactly like what you've been doing before. But I do want to focus on a couple things here. Again, you're going to find out what B is to find out the period. B is the number between the trig function and the x, and in this case there's nothing there. So the period, because we're talking cotangent, is pi. The graph will be translated down 2 units because of that, but you don't necessarily have to know that in order to solve this. It's going to be reflected across the x-axis because of this negative sign here. Right there, that negative is going to reflect it, and it's going to do a phase shift, pi over 4 units to the right, and do all this stuff, but you don't need to know any of that in order to solve this. Okay? You just have to follow the instructions that you've done before. So let's go ahead and just take those real quick. So remember, to find the asymptotes to a cotangent, it's bx equals 0 and bx equals pi. Alright, so that being the case, what is my bx? Here is my bx. My bx is the number that's here, which is 1, and here's my x. So I'm going to take this whole thing. So x minus pi over 4 equals 0, and x minus pi over 4 equals pi. I'm going to solve for x, so I'm going to add this to both sides. Make that go away. Make that go away. So x equals 0 plus pi over 4, which means that goes away, and we just get pi over 4 for one of my sides of my asymptote. The other one is we're going to make that 5 pi over 4. So that's my other side. So I've got a pi over 4 and a 5 pi over 4. Now what's the halfway mark between those two? So let's go ahead and put a graph like here. So this is my pi, whoops. That wouldn't be there because that would make my pi over 4 negative, wouldn't it? So there's my pi over 4. And there's my 5 pi over 4. So where is this point? Where is that halfway point? Well, if I take pi over 4 plus 5 pi over 4, I get 6 pi over 4. Divide that in half, I get 6 pi over 8, which reduces to 3 pi over 4. Now to find this halfway point right here, I'm going to take these two, add them together, and take half. And when I do that, I get pi over 2. And to find this point, take these two, add them together, divide them by 2 or take half, and I'm going to get pi. Okay, so now I've got my asymptotes. I've got where it crosses normally right there, but one of the things that's going to be different is when I put 3 pi over 4 in for x, I may not get 0. So we're going to have to clean this up, see if we can do that and not get rid of the graph. Okay, so notice what I did is I just took all of those values that I found and put them down here below. I had them up here a minute ago, so they're there. Now if you remember, our 5 pi over 4 was an asymptote and our pi over 4 was an asymptote, so I don't need to plug those in. But I'm going to take pi over 2, put it in here, subtract pi over 4, take the cotangent of that answer, negative 2 minus that answer is going to give me a negative 3. So a point right there. And I'm going to do the same with 3 pi over 4. I'm going to take 3 pi over 4, put it in here. 3 pi over 4 minus pi over 4 would be 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. Take the cotangent. Negative 2 minus that is going to give me a negative 2. So that's giving me a negative 2 right there. And then I'm going to put pi in. Pi in here. Pi minus pi to the fourth would be negative 3/4 pi times the cotangent. This, negative 2 minus this, and I end up getting negative 1. Right there. And then when I draw my fancy graph here with the red, okay, so notice that this was shifted down. And how far is it shifted down? It shifted down 2, like I had said earlier. But I don't have to know any of that. I can just do it like I know how to do it, and my graph will just show up in the right place. So that's the nice thing about this way of figuring it out, is it will put the graph where it needs to go, even if you don't understand which one is the phase shift and which one is my translation and all that. Just graph it like normal and it'll show up where it needs to show up. So that's it for the videos for 4.3.